Also just in tonight as President Trump reached a deal with President Zelenskyy, and is Zelenskyy coming to the White House, and the awful discovery: 3 American women found dead at a resort. That breaking news on Ukraine after intense pressure from President Trump calling President Zelenskyy a dictator, and the Trump administration beginning peace talks with Russia and without Ukraine. Tonight, sources now telling ABC News the U.S. and Ukraine have now agreed to a deal that would give the U.S. some of the money from Ukraine's rare earth minerals. Will Ukraine get any promise of security in return? Here's our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, tonight.
After weeks of an intense pressure campaign by President Trump on President Zelenskyy, calling the Ukrainian leader a dictator and starting peace talks with Russia without Ukraine, tonight it appears Zelenskyy is ready to make a major economic deal. A senior Ukrainian official telling ABC News both countries have agreed to the framework of a deal for Ukraine's rare earth minerals. The White House has not confirmed the deal, but Trump tonight in the Oval Office saying Zelenskyy may visit Washington in the coming days.
It's a very big deal. It could be $1 trillion deal, it could be whatever, but it's rare earths and other things. And look, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine and Russia fighting a war that should have never, ever happened.
The president asked, what will Ukraine get in return?
With Ukraine and this mineral deal, what does Ukraine get in return, Mr. President?
$350 billion and lots of equipment, and military equipment, and the right to fight on, and originally the right to fight. Look, Ukraine, I will say, they're very brave and they're good soldiers, but without the United States and its money and its military equipment, this war would have been over in a very short period of time.
The U.S. has actually provided $119 billion to Ukraine in its fight against Russia. Zelenskyy was hesitant to strike a deal when presented with a plan. Ukrainian officials say the U.S. made no promise of security guarantees. Trump pressed on that late today.
Would you provide military support for Ukraine in the future as part
You mean
of
like
the
security?
Yeah.
Well, people are going to do it. I think Europe will largely be responsible for that. European countries will be responsible.
And tonight we're learning that Ukrainian President Zelenskyy is expected to travel here to Washington, D.C. on Friday. President Trump saying he is welcome at the White House if he wants to sign a final deal together, David.
Rachel Scott live in Washington for us. Rachel, thank you. Meantime, President Trump is set to hold his first full cabinet meeting tomorrow. And tonight the White House says Elon Musk will be there. And when the president was asked today if millions of federal workers need to answer that email listing 5 things you've done at work in the last week, President Trump signaling today it's voluntary, but if you don't answer, I guess you get fired. Mary Bruce at the White House tonight.
Tonight, the White House announcing that Elon Musk will be there tomorrow when President Trump holds his first cabinet meeting. Musk sitting at the table with some of the secretaries he took by surprise, issuing that directive to more than 2 million federal workers to explain what they did last week in an email or lose their jobs. Some of those secretaries pushing back, telling their workers not to respond or that it was voluntary. Tonight, Trump sending mixed messages.
Well, it's somewhat voluntary, but it's also if you don't answer, I guess you get fired.
In the Oval Office, the president asked if Musk speaks for him.
Is he speaking for you when he says you'll be terminated?
Yeah, everybody speaks for me. I'm the one. I'll take responsibility. You know the old statement, the buck stops here, right?
The White House says more than 1 million federal workers have responded to the email, but Gregory Bell, a Navy veteran who works as a medical records specialist at the Department of Defense, is not one of them. His agency told workers to hold off.
A lot of people they're scared because they don't know what could come next.
Many workers reluctant to speak on camera for fear of losing their jobs.
It's just a lot for me and my family to deal with alone. Because I feel like we kind of became public enemy number 1 overnight.
For nearly a week, Republican members of Congress have been getting pushback from their constituents. In Georgia, Republican Rich McCormick getting an earful.
Because we are all freaking pissed off about this. You're going to hear it and feel it.
Today, that Republican congressman speaking with ABC's Rachel Scott.
People are concerned about what the Doge really is, what it can do, what its powers are. I think some of their actions have been too rapid to adapt to. For real people. I mean, you're talking about Republicans. You're talking about just Democrats.
And tonight, more than 21 computer engineers and project managers who worked with Doge resigning in protest. They had worked for the U.S. Digital Service, which Doge replaced. In a letter saying we will not use our skills as technologists to jeopardize Americans' sensitive data or dismantle critical public services. We will not lend our expertise to carry out or legitimize Doge's actions. And tonight, the president making news on another front, announcing a new version of the green card, saying the U.S. will sell gold cards for $5 million to wealthy foreigners who want to live here. He says the immigration program, which he says he may call the Trump gold card, will be a, quote, very strong path to citizenship. And while he hasn't yet released the details, he says the program will likely start in roughly 2 weeks, and he estimates the U.S. could sell more than 1 million of these gold cards. David.
Mary Bruce live at the White House tonight. Mary, thank you. Now to an arrest in Texas tonight. A 21-year-old is in custody, accused of plotting to kill police officers. Let's get right to ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas. He's live with us tonight. Pierre, the FBI says agents thwarted what could have been a mass casualty attack.
David, tonight Corpus Christi police are holding a 21-year-old who they say was planning to ambush white police officers in a mass casualty attack. Authorities claim Seth Andrea Grigori had discussed using an AR-15 assault pistol to kill police, and they say Grigori had been inspired by a 2016 massacre launched by a sniper in Dallas who fatally shot 5 officers and wounded 9 others. Local police recently locked in on Grigori after being alerted by FBI officials who had an informant who had been communicating with Grigori for months. According to the FBI, the informant provided a series of ominous text messages from Grigori, including one saying, "I planned on shooting and killing cops like the Dallas killer planned it for years." David, authorities fear this was a real plot, and court records show that Grigori had a fully loaded assault-style pistol when he was arrested, David.
It is chilling, and we all remember that Dallas attack well. Pierre, thank you. Now to the mysterious deaths of 3 American women while on vacation at a resort in Belize. What resort staff found in their hotel room. Here's ABC's Matt Rivers tonight.
This luxury beachside resort in Belize now at the center of an investigation into the deaths of 3 American tourists found in their room by hotel staff.
Inside one of the rooms, they came across the lifeless body of 3 female persons.
Police saying surveillance video shows the group of women in their 20s coming back from a tour Thursday evening.
They went back to the room, didn't leave the room.
After multiple attempts and no response, housekeeping alerting hotel management Saturday they had not been able to reach the guests in that room, eventually using a master key to get inside.
It's heartbreaking.
Kathleen Hubbard, staying at that resort, describing the tragic scene.
We knew something was going on because we saw the ambulances, we saw the police.
Investigators now trying to determine a cause of death. Police say they're testing the room for carbon monoxide, but added alcohol and gummies were found in the women's room.
We're not saying at this time that the gummies caused death, but we're looking at every possibility.
And David, police are now saying that they are retracing this group's steps, seeing where they went, what they ate, all while waiting for autopsy results. David?
Matt Rivers with us tonight. We appreciate it, Matt. Back in the U.S. into the economy and to a troubling new forecast when it comes to the price of eggs. Now predicted to rise more than 40% this year, double the prediction just a month ago. And tonight, what more restaurants now say they're being forced to do. Here's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, with a nationwide egg shortage from bird flu, the USDA now warns the price of eggs is expected to jump more than 40% this year, double the increase projected just last month.
The prices are really high. Scarcity, $10 a carton. I got really think twice about that.
And more restaurants are passing those high costs on to customers. The Denny's chain is now joining Waffle House, adding a temporary surcharge to meals with eggs at some of their 1,300 locations. The price for a dozen eggs on average is up 96% over the last year. The beloved Hungarian pastry shop in New York City goes through 30 dozen eggs every day.
Those cases have all doubled in price in the last month. Easy. Some of them more. So.
And you're eating that cost right now?
Entirely.
With the cost of eggs soaring, owner Philip Benitez says it's only a matter of time before he's forced to hike prices.
We're getting pinched, and I don't know where it's going to stop, and that's the problem.
And David, with Easter just around the corner, driving demand for eggs even higher, some business owners tell us they are worried this could get even worse. The Trump administration is expected to unveil its plan to curb the bird flu as soon as this week. David?
All right, Ariel, thank you. Meantime, the price of eggs contributing to what appears to be a significant drop in consumer confidence in this country. The Conference Board survey showing a 7-point drop in confidence in February. That's the largest drop since August of 2021. Analysts expected just a 2-point drop. Consumers reporting concerns about those rising prices and about President Trump's potential tariffs. fueling fears of higher inflation. Tonight, the Supreme Court ruling a death row inmate in Oklahoma must get a new trial now. Richard Glossip, convicted of capital murder in 1998, was scheduled for execution 9 times and ate his last meal 3 times. But in 2023, new evidence surfaced that showed prosecutors knew a key witness lied on the stand. The Supreme Court now ruling he was denied his constitutional right to a fair trial. When we come back tonight, the measles outbreak in the U.S., it's widening tonight, and what has authorities so concerned about this? Also, this mysterious illness overseas that potentially turns deadly within hours of becoming ill, already blamed for more than 50 deaths. In the U.S., this scheme to steal Elvis Presley's home and what's now happened tonight. And then look at this, the remarkable moment right off the U.S. coast you have to see. The super pod of dolphins, thousands of them, and the captain who was right in the middle of it all. He's right here tonight. Tonight, health officials are sounding the alarm over the expanding measles outbreak in Texas. 34 new cases reported, 124 cases now in all. Most of the infections are in West Texas involving unvaccinated children. Officials in San Antonio now warning a person from the outbreak area diagnosed with measles visited several locations in San Antonio while contagious. Daycare facilities are on high alert, watching for possible symptoms. Tonight, an alarming mystery illness is now being blamed for more than 50 deaths in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The World Health Organization believes the illness broke out in a village where 3 children died after eating a bat. Symptoms include fever, vomiting, and internal bleeding. More than 400 cases now reported in the last 5 weeks. In nearly half of the fatal cases, patients died within 48 hours of becoming ill. Tonight, the Vatican reports Pope Francis has been meeting with church officials while hospitalized in critical but stable condition in Rome. The Vatican says the Pope has not had any new breathing issues and that his blood work is stable now. He underwent a CT scan for his pneumonia. Doctors say his prognosis remains, quote, guarded. When we come back here tonight, the major turn in this scheme to steal Elvis Presley's home, Graceland, and Conan O'Brien hosting the Oscars. He's right here tonight, and the one thing he thinks would be more nerve-wracking. To the index of other news, and tonight the woman accused in a scheme to try to steal Elvis Presley's Graceland estate, pleading guilty now in Memphis, Tennessee. Lisa Finley admitting to mail fraud. Prosecutors say she tried to extort Presley's family, forging the signatures of his late daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, and a notary. Authorities say she planned to seize the estate and try to sell it at auction. Our countdown to the Oscars right here on ABC, now just 5 nights away. Conan O'Brien hosting for the first time this year and speaking with our Lara Spencer. Lara asking him just how nerve-wracking this is.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how scary is thinking about that you are about to host the Oscars?
Okay, I'm going to say the gig that might be more intimidating than the Oscars is the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Because at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, you're in front of the press corps. That's not a fun crowd.
It's true. Lara's full interview with Conan tomorrow morning right here on Good Morning America. And, of course, the Oscars air Sunday night right here on ABC beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern. When we come back here tonight, the captain who suddenly found himself in the middle of thousands of dolphins. They're dancing the waters right off the U.S. coast, and you have to see this. Finally tonight here, dancing with the dolphins and the captain who captured it. America Strong. Tonight in Monterey, California, the spectacular rare sight. Thousands of dolphins swimming together, leaping into the air. The images captured by Captain Evan Brodsky from the boat tour company Monterey Bay Whale Watch. On a scouting trip a little more than 10 miles from the harbor, when they suddenly found themselves directly in the middle of this majestic scene. Mothers and their babies, nursery pods, swimming side by side in what's called a rare super pod. Nearly 3,000 dolphins in all, including the more elusive northern right whale dolphin, one of 2 dolphin species without a dorsal fin. And right here tonight,
hey, David,
that captain who documented the moment, Captain Brodsky.
This was just such an incredible sighting just because of the amount of dolphins that were there. It was astonishing. By sharing this video, I hope to inspire people to come see these dolphins wild and free in their natural habitat. We run trips daily for Monterey Bay, California, and we would love to have you out.
Tonight, an invitation and an unforgettable sight, swimming with thousands of dolphins right off the U.S. coast. We might have to take him up on his invitation. What a sight. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Good night.
David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, the most watched newscast in America, and honored with the Emmy Award, winner for Outstanding Live News Program. More Americans watch World News Tonight with David Muir than any other newscast.